It's such a strange thing because I don't think I've ever referred to someone as an imposter, like, oh, she's a right imposter. Like, so literally nobody will ever say that you're an imposter.
I'm going to start doing that now.
It is.
What an insult that is. You're such an imposter.
Welcome to... I can't even say welcome. Hannah's came in with some lovely sunglasses today, looking like a queen.
Like the goth version of Liza Minnelli.
Yeah. Yeah. This week, we have the lovely Hannah.
Hello.
Sunglasses and all. If you can't see them, get on YouTube because it's worth logging onto YouTube for.
I want to take them off.
And we also have the lovely Chelsea.
Hello.
Hi. Today is going to be, I think, a very relatable one. We're talking about imposter syndrome. The silence says it all. Do you know what Chelsea said before she came in? I hope you don't mind sharing this.
No.
She said, this morning I woke up and thought, oh, I don't think I want to do the podcast. And then I realised, I think that's imposter syndrome.
I was thinking, I'm not going to be very good. Someone else would be better. I shouldn't do the podcast.
Yeah.
And then I was like, it's about imposter syndrome. Maybe I should. Maybe I've got it.
So do you guys, can you relate?
Oh, yeah. Massively.
Do you both have imposter syndrome?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I do as well.
I think it's really, really common.
70% of people, apparently. 70% of people have imposter syndrome. So just for anybody who's not sure what it is believing that you are, or not believing that you're as competent as others perceive you to be, or feeling like a fraud is the best way I put it. Like feeling like a bit of a fraud.
Yeah.
Is it just in work? Or can it be in life?
Oh, I think it could translate to like social settings and stuff.
I think 100% for me it does. Because I feel like I've got imposter syndrome in life.
In life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because I have to be a bit more outgoing at work. I'm on YouTube stuff, doing this, doing that. You saw us yesterday swinging around on some swing, doing a photo shoot. And then I see people from school or people from wherever, and they're like, hi Kim, and like all bubbly and chatty and things. Now I'm thinking, I'm not even really that chatty. Do you know what I mean?
Don't
though?
actually like talking to people.
No, I like talking to people who I really know.
Yeah.
But then I think I feel like fraud.
Yeah, I think it probably can translate to life. I think, as you say, social situations, I think sometimes it's about feeling like you don't fit in and you don't belong there, or you've got your kind of inner voice going on and you feel like you're just faking it.
Yeah.
You're faking being sociable and you're faking chatting. And
Have you named your inner voice yet?
No, I haven't named mine.
It's worth doing, you know. Definitely worth doing. Name your inner voice. Mine's Regina.
Mine would be like Lucifer or something.
Yeah. Isn't Lucifer your friend?
For a minute, I was like, have I got a friend called Lucifer?
It's a cool name.
Just a disclaimer, I'm not actually a devil worshipper.
No, yeah.
I feel like this isn't the first time I've been asked this question or it's been suggested. Like, I'm not an imposter in that I'm pretending not to be. I'm actually not a devil worshipper.
Yeah. All right. So, well, I think you can definitely have it in life as well as work. But have you got any examples where you've felt full blown imposter syndrome and you're like, right, why am I here?
I don't know if I've got any examples, but I think you're right. I think it manifests a lot more in work.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's something that I feel like full blown every day. It's just like always there, like underlying.
Right.
And I think it's in work because obviously we all know ourselves. So I'm Chelsea, but every time I say that I'm head of operations, I'm like, what are you talking about? Why are you head of operations? So I think when you have a job role or when you have any role, and that's when it can kind of come out, and it comes out a lot more in work.
It does. Yeah, I had to get very comfortable very quickly saying CEO. Because I was a bit like, you know what I mean?
Yep,
it's like, oh, what do you do? Oh, and now I don't say I'm CEO of a company. I say, oh, I've got a skincare and cosmetics brand.
Yeah.
And then people don't really, they go, oh, that's cool. Then they don't. Whereas if I went, oh, I'm CEO, they'd be like, what? Wait, like, tell me more.
Yeah.
Because every time you say it, that inner voice literally says
laughing.
to you,
What are you doing?
I know.
It's like, why are you lying for?
Yeah.
I'm not.
Do you get that as well?
Yeah, like head of brand, like, I mean, part of us fucking loves it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I am head of brand. But then again, like the little Lucifers, like, are you though?
Yeah.
Are you? Or are you just pretending? Are you just
Yeah.
really good at making everybody think that you can do your job?
Isn't that terrible?
It's awful. It's horrible when you're
terrible.
fighting with yourself. And like, for me, it's like, it kicks in a lot when we reflect. Like, I reflect on what we've achieved so far and how far we've come. I'm like, head of brand of like a multi-million pound company. Like, what the fuck? Pass me the gin. Quick.
Yeah, I was reading the definition, Kim, and it did make us laugh because sometimes you get like, so say in your job, for example, you get some validation or some praise and some encouragement from your manager, and that should be a good thing. But then you kind of think, right, they think I'm doing really well and they think I'm really good, but then you think, oh, but why do they think that? Oh no, they think that, and I'm just letting them think that. I'm just going to let them think that, and you think you're such a fraud.
Yeah.
And it does come down
Spirals,
to that,
doesn't it?
It does come down to that thing, like, I'm just letting everyone think I'm really good, but really I know I'm not really good.
So I kind of thought a lot about this for today and realised it's about self-belief is what it's about.
Confidence.
It's confidence and self-belief that is shaken slightly. And self-belief is a hard thing to get in any way, shape or form. Like it's difficult. It's about self-motivation. It's about confidence. It's about being kind to yourself. There's a lot of elements attached to that. So what do you think causes that shake in self-belief?
I think partly, you know, if you get a knock or you drop a ball at work or something, and then that kind of compounds the imposter syndrome of being like, oh shit, I knew I'm no good at this sort of thing, and that kind of makes things worse. But I also think there's an element to it, for me, imposter syndrome wise, in society, not so much anymore, but I remember a time when it was really frowned on to be like your own cheerleader.
It
Like,
was.
massively, to talk about your achievements and to be proud of them and be like, yeah, no, I am really good at this. People would be like, hey, well, who do you think she is? Like,
people would actually say it as an insult, oh, she loves herself. And it's like, well, if she does love herself, that's a really, really good
this day and
thing,
age,
but
that's actually a really good thing, and especially with the cool kids and that. Like, they're all very much like, I'm confident, I'm this, I'm that, and they're able to express themselves and be able to love themselves openly. If anybody, back when I was at school, said, oh, I like my hair today, you would be tortured. Tortured. You'd be like, you love yourself, you absolutely love yourself.
like it was a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm from Sunderland, they wouldn't say love yourself, they would say love yourself.
Yeah.
prop love yourself.
But you love yourself.
All right.
If anyone's from America, I'm sorry. I know there was a few Americans. I just think if we can identify what causes it, we can then help change that behaviour in that. Yeah, and I spent ages thinking, what causes self-doubt?
I think a lot of the time it's because we internally focus on the negatives instead of the positives. So literally sometimes I think our brain will not even acknowledge or will completely wipe out all the good things that we do in our job role, for example, and just think, well, that's what you should be doing because that's your job. And then any mistakes or any things we're unsure of, any things we need development in, or we don't feel we're very good at, we let that build up and we acknowledge that, and we kind of focus on that.
See, I came to the conclusion, after thinking a lot about this, that it's a defence. It's a defence mechanism, and that what we're doing in kind of having a bit of that self-belief being shaken, it's to avoid embarrassment.
Yeah.
And that's what I think it comes down to. It's to avoid that situation where someone can point and laugh at you.
Yeah.
And that's what I think, or even behind your back or what they're doing or whatever it might be. It's that embarrassment that we're trying to avoid as humans. So therefore, our self-belief isn't so confident, because if we get cocky, we could mess up and then look like an idiot.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of...
To highlight the perceived faults or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm starting to do with you.
Yeah. False. I do this all the time.
Yeah, you do all the
All the
time.
time.
Are you using it wrong, like Joey?
No, I'm not, but I did say I was going to start to, just for the crack, like in meetings. Good morning.
I would love that.
Hope you all have a nice day.
Yeah, like highlighting the perceived faults. Weirdly, like I went on a date a little while ago with a guy who, within sort of 10 minutes, had pointed out all of what he perceived as physical faults.
Really?
He was like, I'm just going to tell you now, I've got big ears, I've got this, I've got that. And
What?
I was like, bloody hell. I was like, 1, I didn't even notice them.
Yeah.
2, I don't really see them as faults.
Yeah.
And 3, it's so like sad that
That's what you think you have to
that's,
do?
yeah,
Yeah.
like,
Wow.
and I think that comes from a place of, like you say,
Confidence
like confidence, insecurity, highlighting your faults before, again, perceived faults before somebody else does.
Yeah.
But actually, your brain's catastrophizing because half of these faults,
Yeah.
most people don't even notice.
Yeah.
And it's like,
So for...
And actually, sorry, I was just, what's humiliating about not being perfect?
Yeah.
How is it embarrassing? How is it humiliating? But I think it's a perfectionism thing as well.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. I do that in meetings. Subconsciously, I'll be really hard on myself and point out something I didn't do very well at all, because it makes me feel better to know that everyone else, that I've done it. So it's a subconscious thing, but you do it before anyone else can do it. And you just want everyone else to know that you know too, that you didn't do a good job. And somehow that saves you. It is defense,
It's
you're
defense.
right?
yeah, it's like
From
a control.
humiliation.
Yeah.
It's about humiliation. I think everything it comes back to is about humiliation. This is what I kind of gravitated it down to. And I think it kind of secured this in my brain when I realised what's helped my imposter syndrome over the years. And one of the best things that ever happened to me for imposter syndrome was we were doing a trade show with WBCo, and we were selling stuff there, and there was some really lovely brands there. It was the first time I was going to meet James and Alex from my Kitco, and I love them. I was so, back then I was like so excited to meet them. I mean, I still love seeing them now, but it was just a real step for us.
Yeah.
And they'd asked me to do a demo on stage of makeup. Now I'd been, you know what's coming. So I was like, all right, okay, I can do this. So I didn't get a model. I got my cousin because I thought she's just like a model, and I thought I'll be more comfortable, etc., etc. I was shaken before I got on stage, but I just kept telling myself, no, come on, you can do this. Come on, you can do this. Imposter syndrome was going wild. Like, you're going to make yourself look like an idiot. You're in a room full of actual makeup artists. You're not a real makeup artist. I'd worked on London Fashion Week, and I'm still saying this to myself. And I got on stage, and I'm walking through things, and I'm thinking, this is not too bad. There's about 150 people watching, something like that. And I'm doing a makeup, and I just think, all right, I need to go around the other side. So I walked around the back of the stage, although there wasn't the back of the stage, and I fell off. I literally fell off the stage. I fell onto the floor. I had a mic on and everything. And then I was like, oh, I'll just get back on the stage. And then I got back on the stage, and I looked over at my mum and Alex were in the corner, Alex and my Kitco, and they were just like, and I was like, oh my God. And I just kept thinking, Jennifer Lawrence. Yeah. And honestly, it was one of the best things that could have happened, because what was I so afraid of? Getting up there, that I would humiliate myself. And I did. And was it okay? Yeah. It was fine. What happened? People were pissing themselves, laughing. I felt like an idiot. And then I thought, do you know what? I'm up here. And I was on the stage thinking, you know what? I'm still up here, and I'm still doing my best. So there was something that made me go, that was horrific, but actually I'm off the stage now. And are people going to remember that for 5-6 years? No. So they might laugh about it with their mates, but it's not going to be, the be all and end all. And if you look at Jennifer Lawrence, she fell over at the Oscars. Like, do people go, what an idiot? No, they don't. They don't ridicule her for it. They don't. It's those kind of things that made me go, actually, accept the worst case scenario in the beginning, accept that humiliation isn't as bad as we think, and then try again, because it will help.
I think it's about people's judgment as well. I think a lot of people fear people's judgment, but when you actually get your head around the fact that actually, if they judge me and if they think that, will anything bad happen?
Yeah.
Like, because I guess humiliation is about people's judgment.
I feel like it's a thing from school. I feel like it goes back to being at school.
Oh God, yeah. Like there was so many opportunities to be humiliated for the smallest things in school, wasn't there?
And you don't have, when you're at school, you don't have the tools or the communication skills at that age to be able to respond to humiliation well.
You just want to fit in.
You don't want to challenge it, or you just don't want to be humiliated because you don't know how to respond. If I'm humiliated now in a room full of people, I would know how to respond because I've learned that over the years. Whereas as a child, you don't know those things, you don't have those tools. But I think we have to get to an age where we go, okay, can I accept that I know how to respond to humiliation? Because if we can agree with our inner voice, hang on, because you know how to respond to humiliation, why are you so scared of it? Then that again could help shift our mindset on imposter syndrome.
And if you get really, really good, you could learn how to actually respond and humiliate the person that's trying to humiliate you. Wouldn't that be good?
Chelsea going for the throat.
Turn back round.
Only if they're doing it on purpose, obviously. I would never want to humiliate anyone that wasn't trying to purposely humiliate.
Savage.
Yeah. I don't know.
Do you think imposter syndrome exists in people who don't put a lot of value on what other people think? So, like, if there was nobody else in the world, like, no, that doesn't make sense.
People who don't care what others think.
Yeah. Like, because I
Probably
think
not.
imposter syndrome probably hinges a lot on what you perceive it does, doesn't it? What other people think about you. And I think that plus self-doubt comes from you compare yourself to other people as well, and like
Yeah, maybe it's because I think for me, the older I've got, because my imposter syndrome is nowhere near as bad as it used to be, but I say the older I've got, it's not. I think the different situations I've been put in, I really don't care what people think now. Some people I do, but and there's certain situations that I'm like, yeah, that's going to bug us, but I just get on with it anyway. But yeah, I think that comes with a bit of age, doesn't it?
Yeah. I just think, like, I look at other heads of brand and I'm like, I'm not doing what they're doing. But like,
But you are.
But that's the thing, I am. But like, we're talking about the Forbes 30 under 30.
Yeah.
That's got to be one of the biggest triggers for imposter syndrome, I think, in the world. Because you look at them, like other people who are under 30 in similar positions, and they're like, well, I must be crap at my job because I'm not on there.
Yeah.
I'm not on that list, or I'm not like doing that. Do you know what I mean?
At
See,
that age.
I don't get that.
Do you not?
No, I don't.
No, neither do I. I don't normally. I don't.
Because there's only 30 people in the whole world that can end up on that list, so you shouldn't feel bad.
Yeah, I don't think for a second I'll ever be on. Well, I'm 33, so definitely not. Have they got it under 40?
Yeah, they have.
Yeah. But like, yeah, no, I think that's kind of a exaggerated sort of
extreme.
No, but I know what you mean,
Yeah.
because I have thought about this, and I know Kirsty's chatted with me about before, we should submit you for Forbes 40 and 40, whatever. And I'm a bit like, is it the way they address it being this is an achievement because of your age and what you've achieved and your age at the same time? Like, is that what makes me a bit uncomfortable? And it's because I don't want to give the impression that it's more impressive at 30 than it would be at 60.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't want to give out in terms of the impression there. But yeah, I don't know.
I think I think you hit the nail on the head, and I think when you talked about the humiliation, and I think with imposter syndrome, it's you can feel insecure and a lack of confidence, but you keep going, you build yourself up, and then it's that fear of being found out.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if anyone ever has been found out. Like, imagine you're an imposter. Like, but it's that fear of being found out. And something that I would say, obviously working in the role that I'm in the company that I'm in, the more people I meet in I don't know, coveted roles or just business owners, people that I would look at and think like, oh, they're amazing. And the more you get to know them as a real person, I think that really helps.
Yeah.
That really helps, kind of like, everyone's just a real person.
Yeah.
You never know what's going on inside anyone. And I think as well, the acceptance of and chatting a little bit about fake it till you make it and wing it. And that whole thing, when you sometimes joke, it's that acceptance when people say, oh, I'm just winging it. It's kind of that relatability and that acceptance of everyone feels like a bit of an imposter, and you wing it, and then you realise you're actually doing it.
Yeah.
And it's that, you know, we've talked about that, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think part of it is coming from being a child to an adult.
Yeah.
Because I think the way you think about, you know, you've got like that inner child. I think part of it, I mean, sometimes being a grown-up makes you feel like an imposter.
Yeah, that's very
like,
true.
How am I a grown-up?
Yeah.
I've got,
That's
do you know
really
what I mean?
true, yeah.
Like the inner child inside you's like, why are you pretending to be a grown-up?
Yeah.
Like,
Looking around for the actual grown-ups, like...
Absolutely. And then you realise you're the most you're the grown-up person in the room.
Yeah.
I had a friend who is a teacher. So if you think about all the years that you're a student in school, like in the schooling system, and unless you're homeschooled or whatever, to then become a teacher, she felt massively like an imposter, like she was just pretending to be a teacher.
Yeah.
And she talked about that something would happen, and internally she'd kind of look around for the grown-up, the most responsible person in the room, and then she'd realise that's me. And she was totally capable. But I do think part of it as well is just about being from a child to an adult.
That transition. I think there's a few transitions there, because it gets to the next stage. Maybe it's when you're about 50, 60, where you really start to not give a flying fuck about what anybody thinks. Don't you? And it seems to happen with everybody at that age. You go, actually, I'm at that next stage as well again, where I just wish I'd said this to that person. I wish I'd done this. I wish I'd done that, and not cared what anybody thought. We need to pull them things a bit further down to our 30s and 40s.
I think for us, maybe in your 20s and 30s, there's a little bit of a sense of starting out in a career and trying to prove yourself. I don't know, I feel that. I think a lot of people in the 50s and 60s maybe have got achievements behind them, and kind of
if you look at even Catch Me If You Can, right? Have you seen Catch Me If You Can?
the film.
Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah.
I don't know if
Where
I've
he
seen
like
that.
is an
Great film.
actual fraud.
Yeah.
And he actually pretends to be a pilot and a this and a that and the other. And then you look at people like Anna, is it Anna Delvey?
Inventing Anna.
Yeah.
Talk
If you
about
look
fake
at-
it till you make it.
Well, this is the thing, right? They are actual frauds, where someone could say you are an imposter, but they did it.
Yeah.
They still did it.
And if you believe
Exactly.
that you're not an imposter,
Exactly.
no one can really tell you that you're an imposter.
Yeah.
Because that Anna, people were trying to tell her.
So unless you
Yeah.
are fraudulent, actually an actual imposter, even if you are,
Just believe it anyway.
if you believe in it, apparently it works perfectly fine. So it is about that belief, because if somebody who is an actual imposter can get away with it and do so extremely
know.
well, that's all we have to do, believe in ourselves.
I know. And it's such a strange thing, because I don't think I've ever referred to someone as an imposter, like, oh, she's a right imposter. Like, so literally nobody will ever say that you're an imposter.
I'm going to start doing that now.
It is.
What an insult that is. You're such an imposter.
It literally, well, obviously, I mean, that's the reason we're talking about it. It literally is an internal thing. It's a confidence thing. It's feeling like your abilities aren't as good as they should be, feeling like they aren't as good as other people's, and as you're making out.
I've got a question for you then. If you were, and I know this is not the case here because I know how much everybody reps each other and stuff, but if we got a new starter and they came in the office and I said, oh, we've got a new person in IT. We've got an IT girl or guy or they come in and they are going through all the IT stuff. And I say, they're great at IT. They've got all the IT stuff down. And then kind of they come over to you and they say, you say, will you just sort this thing out? And they don't know how to do it. And they're like, oh, let us come back to you. And Chelsea, you say, oh, I need to do this update on my computer.
I would do my own update. I always do.
Would you say, I need a hand with, and they don't know how to do it. And then you start to see the skills are not there. Would you be like, they're a total imposter and they're scamming us and I can't believe they believe that they should be here? Or would you think, oh, wow, there's a bit of a issue with the skills here that we need to work on and improve on?
Definitely the second one.
Yeah.
Definitely the second
100%.
one.
You wouldn't be like, well, you know now, so
Yeah. But
out
that's what
of it.
that's what we're scared of with imposter syndrome.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We're not scared of somebody thinking we don't have the skills and that they need work
Or
on.
that was still developing.
Or that was still developing. We're not scared of that. We're scared of somebody thinking that we are deserving of the position that we're in if we're not. We're scared of somebody thinking that we got lucky or and that we're a fraud. Do you know what I mean?
And quite clearly, we wouldn't go straight to that. We would go to, they're obviously what they say they are, but there's a couple of skills that we need them to have that maybe we need to work on. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's nice.
So what else can we do to help anybody who's got imposter syndrome?
I think one thing that I've just got from talking today is realise that nobody's going to think you're an imposter, and you're not an imposter. So
Unless you're Leonardo DiCaprio or Anna Delvey.
Yeah.
So that could help.
Just thinking that.
Yeah.
Like being kind to yourself is obviously the usual one.
I think talking about it and acknowledging it, that every 70% of people are in the same boat. And the thing is, 9 times out of 10, again, unless you are Leonardo DiCaprio and Delvey, like you've got to where you are because of all the hard work that you've put in. But like Chelsea said before, your brain doesn't register all the good things. It only registers the negative things. So if you reflect on, your career so far or whatever it might be, like you're only looking at the negative things. So they're the highlights. That's the highlight reel. And you're like, well, I'm flipping shit because all of the terrible things I've done. But actually, there are a million amazing things that you've done to get to where you are. People don't get, I mean, this is very generalised and it probably does happen, but people generally don't get jobs unless they deserve those jobs.
Yeah.
Or they don't get to keep those jobs and move up and develop and have opportunities unless they're bloody good at what they do.
Yeah.
And it's just trying to remember that, isn't it? But that's easier said than done.
So I've got a few tips, I think. Being kind, letting go of perfection is a big one.
I think perfectionism, it's very much linked to that. Because realistically, you want to be perfect, that's not achievable, and you want to reach something that'll make you feel like you're not an imposter, and you're not going to reach that because nobody's perfect, and perfectionism is about reaching for something that's not possible.
It's, I would say, like, perfectionism as well. That's a good one.
Yeah. Isn't there like 5 different types of imposter syndrome though?
There is, yes. There is, yeah.
Is there?
The perfectionist, the hero, somebody who like comes in to like solve all the problems. And I did read it and then it's fell out my brain because
I'll have to read it.
The super person tend to push themselves to prove they aren't imposters. The get it alone person.
the solo flyer.
The genius, the expert, and the perfectionist. Well, there you go.
Yeah, because I think like as well, like, I mean, when I was at school, I was, I found academic stuff, it came quite naturally to us. So I did well.
Yeah.
But, and that's something my parents have always been very proud of, is like, I'm doing it already. I'm like, but I'm not intelligent, but it's like my perceived natural intelligence.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes us feel sick saying that. Which is, again, it's just the thing because but that was like something that was highlighted. Like, so anytime we should be talking to friends, they're just like, oh, Hannah's really clever and like, Hannah's doing really well at school and blah, blah, blah. And one, like, obviously I'm not blaming you, mum, I love you. But like that kind of put a little bit of added pressure on that the times
like
when
the
I was
straight
finding
A's, girl.
things hard or when I didn't quite succeed or get the grades, then that really knocked us.
Yeah.
So I went from getting really good GCSEs to really terrible A levels because I just stopped.
Yeah.
Like it became too much.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, no, I can't. But I felt like I stopped and that was a conscious decision of me not doing any more work or not trying because I was in control of it. But really it was because I thought I'm not as clever as people think I am.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just prove that point myself.
So
Does that make sense?
It's about avoiding that
Again, that
shame and
humiliation.
humiliation.
And that of, oh, you've thought this about us for so long, but actually I've just
become
winged
tired of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's 5 different types. Let's do this actually. So the natural genius, that's you then.
Well,
The other ones are the perfectionist, which is people who can like micromanage, have a difficulty delegating. So try and identify yourself in these then. Everything has to be perfect 100% of the time. You can't just do something half-assed. Like, it takes months of planning to get everything perfect, or you can't get on board unless it's perfect. The next one is the superwoman or superman, the person who stays late in the office, gets stressed if your work's not done, so you can't enjoy your downtime. Left your passions or your hobbies, maybe it's to sacrifice some work time. Have you earned your title? You feel pressure to work harder and longer than anybody else to make sure that you're worthy. Those kind of things. I've gone through the natural genius. Is about basically always being on track for straight A's, excelling without much effort. You're supposed to be able to handle things by yourself. The next one is the soloist. They want to accomplish things on their own, don't need anyone's help, just want to be independent. And then the last one, the fifth one, is the expert, which is based on what or how much they know. So that's about like making sure you're doing loads of training. Even if you know your role, never knowing if it's enough. I feel seen. Do you shudder when someone says you're an expert? It's me. I relate to all of them actually.
yeah.
I do as
Apart
well.
from the natural genius.
No, you.
No, but I genuinely wasn't natural genius, and I've never had that at school. In fact, I was told that I'm not a natural genius.
I relate to
You have to work a bit harder, you, because you're not a natural
Anthony's
genius.
was
No,
savage, wasn't it?
Yeah. No,
I
that was
relate to
Donna.
the second and third one. You what?
I said, no, that was Donna. You
I
relate
relate
to
to the perfectionist one, and then the one
the superwoman.
Yeah.
Same as me, yeah. Same as me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting, like, if we think about what we're trying to prove with all those things, trying to be a superwoman, trying to be a workaholic, or trying to be independent or an expert at things or whatever it might be. Like, why?
Yeah, it all boils down to because you want other people to think you are.
What you say you are.
Yeah,
You got to keep
Instead
the
of-
pretense up.
just being instead of just being who you are and what you are. Because that should come naturally.
I've had quite bad imposter syndrome all my life, but I've also put myself in every job that I've ever been in a position of where you could have severe imposter syndrome in those positions. So makeup artist,
You've worked through it.
a nurse. I remember you saying to me one day, I couldn't be a nurse because my imposter syndrome would get the better of us. and my anxiety.
Yeah, I mean, I would just be stressed being a nurse.
Yeah.
Because for me, I get stressed and I'm like, well, it's not life and death, but obviously
Yeah.
if you work in the medical field, it could be. So
Yeah.
I just knew for me, that's not the right environment for me to be in.
But it is, it is a bit imposter. And then CEO, and it is all of the positions that I've ever put myself in, a high imposter syndrome-esque.
High risk.
So you've high risk.
High risk for imposter syndrome.
You've been brave, you've challenged yourself and pushed through it.
Yeah. Or tortured myself. One of the two.
Maybe you're just like a masochist.
Maybe.
You're like, I just need to feel like an imposter.
I love this feeling.
Yeah, I love it so much. I love the stress and the anxiety.
I've got 2 more tips. The first one is say yes.
Okay.
Just say yes, man. Do it. Say yes. It's the biggest tip I can give anyone ever. Especially if you've got imposter syndrome. If someone asks you to do something, are you able to do this? Do you want to do this? Just say yes. You might be fucking pricking it. You might be petrified. Say yes. What's the worst that can happen? What's the worst thing you might fall off a stage. And you know what? It'll still be fine.
Yeah, you just you might completely drop the ball, but you've got the experience.
It's a fun story later on.
Well, that's always I love a good story.
And you won't get found out because you're not really an imposter.
Yeah.
Have you seen the film Yes Man with Jim Carrey?
Yes.
I love that film.
Oh, he has
so
to say yes to
much.
everything.
He says yes to everything and ends up like doing all these mad things and like it's mint.
It's good.
And I was like, I wish I would love to be able to do that.
Should we do it? Shall we do that?
As brave.
Oh, we should do that as a team building exercise in here.
For a day.
Just say yes to everything.
You have to we'll do 2 teams and one of them has to challenge the other, but the other one doesn't know that they're saying yes to everything.
No, you have to know, otherwise you won't ask them to do anything good.
Oh, everybody has to say yes.
Say yes for the day.
Oh, God.
Stand on your head.
Justice is out.
Stand on your head. Oh my God, Lise, it's going to be like health and safety. Nightmare.
The last tip I've got is, and I don't actually like that I'm saying this, but be passionate. And I'll explain, because I don't believe that there's one passion for everyone in this world. I don't believe that everyone is made to do something. I don't believe in callings. I think if you have callings, everyone should have more than one. I don't believe you are born to be something or do anything like that. But I do believe that you in passion and that you can be passionate about certain things. I also believe that passion can run out for something. But if you are passionate about something, say me in this business, the reason why I've got through imposter syndrome with a lot of the situations that I've been in, if I've been asked to, recently I was asked to talk at my old college, where I used to go at Newcastle College, and they asked me to come and present to a load of young kids who were interested in entrepreneurship. Yeah. And I genuinely went with not one little bit of imposter syndrome. I thought, I'm going to enjoy this. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun. But the reason why was because I was talking about something that I'm genuinely passionate about. And I thought, I'm not a fraud in any of this, because it's coming from like deep within. And if somebody, I didn't have to plan, I didn't have to write a speech, I just thought, we'll see how it goes, see what they ask. And because it comes from within me, that is something that I'm genuinely interested in, genuinely passionate about. I didn't struggle. And there was 200 odd people there, and it was nice. I mean, you get nerves are normal, but I didn't feel like an imposter.
Yeah,
and
that's
I think
really interesting.
Being passionate about whatever you're doing and talking about and whatever you're interested in is vital.
It's a nice feeling as well, isn't it? When you get to that where you're asked to do something that's maybe out of your comfort zone or something you haven't done before.
Yeah.
And you just know that you're going to nail it because you live and breathe whatever it is that you're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
And you just say, that's, like you say, you don't have to prepare. You get the nerves because you're standing in front of loads of people you don't know. But when it comes to actually talking about the subject matter, it's like, it's to me blood.
And it just feels right.
Yeah.
You do feel like you're actually doing what you're meant to be doing.
Yeah. And I know that if I said to either of you two, right, you're going to Newcastle College and you're going to Newcastle College, and There's going to be 200 people there, and Hannah, I need you to just talk about the brand, introduce the brand, tell people who we are, tell everyone our story, tell them our values, introduce the brand. And Chelsea, I need you to explain all about how we work, what our systems are like, the operations around things. I don't think either of you two would feel like an imposter in that room saying those things. I don't think you would.
No, I don't think I would either.
Chelsea's like, no.
No, I wouldn't. Talking about WBCo.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just comes naturally. I talk people you're off about it.
Yeah. Because there's that passion and drive there for it, I think, as well. Amazing. This has been really interesting. Thank you so much. If you've got any more tips, or if anyone else has got any tips out there on getting over imposter syndrome, let us know. Send us some comments. Let us know if you've got any particular subject you would like us to cover in the podcast. You can comment on our YouTube or DM us. Yeah. Subscribe, do all those lovely things. We hope you've enjoyed this, and we'll see you next week on Just Another Group Chat.